Well, good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday night, and I'm glad to be back. Um, I'm actually excited. I'm excited. There's some great things going on. And hey, Wanda. Hi, Rena. Come on in, you guys. Hi, Stormy. I see you guys. Jocelyn, come on in. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm so grateful that you guys just show up. You meet me here on Tuesdays, and I appreciate that. I want to tell you, I don't take your time for granted, but I do appreciate it because you could be doing a bunch of other things, but you're here helping me get through life. So a lot of what I help share with you guys is it's what I'm working on in my own life. So I appreciate you guys. Hello, Troc, I see you. Destiny, come on in, you guys. Miss Ruth, Kiana. A lot of what I share with you guys are things that I'm learning, I'm working on, and all of that just for myself. And I love to share it with people who are hungry, just like myself, that want to just go higher, want to be better. So I appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. All right. So I'm going to try to give you an hour, half an hour, maybe about a half an hour, 45 minutes. But tonight I want to talk to you about, I've been thinking about, I'm always on this pattern of growth, how to be better, how to be, my best self, how to be all that God would have me to be. Just being a better self. Because if you become your best self, you'll be a great mom, you'll be a great dad, you'll be a great friend, you'll be a great sister. All of those things will come. So we tend to focus on being better in the roles that we have or in the positions that we carry, rather than being a better person. If I'm a better me, I'm going to be better in any position that I walk in, any position that I carry. I'm just going to be better. So I want to talk to you tonight about our perception, and being better is always the goal. And so I give you little nuggets, little details on working on how to be your best self, how to be your better self. What is it that I need to do? A lot of it is thinking about just looking at the way that I think, really thinking on your mindset. What mindset do I have? What is my emotional state? What is my mental state? What is my thought process when it comes to making me better, or when it comes to life? What is my emotional state in circumstances and situations? How do I act? How do I respond? Am I the victim? Am I blaming somebody? What is my emotional state? Am I nervous? Am I depressed? Am I weary? Am I frustrated? Am I going through like angry about something, that I have no power over, no control over? What state am I in? What is my health state? I'm always talking about that. What is my health state? What is my financial state? How can I get better? Or am I saying, I just need more money? What will you do, if you get more money? How do you respond? What do you do differently if you get a raise? What do you do with that extra money? What do you do with that overtime money? So the goal is always making me better, so that I'm better in all the positions that I hold: wife, mother, co-worker, employee, boss, whatever you are. But then that I'm better in my different state, my mental, my emotional, my financial, my spiritual, my health wise. It's an overall thing. And so tonight I want to talk to you about how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive our life. And the title of this tonight, if I have to give it a title, is The Power of a Paradigm. The Power of a Paradigm. And we live our lives governed by paradigms, I believe. And sometimes we don't even know that we do that. In the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey talks about the power of the paradigm. And he says, basically, your paradigm is a roadmap. Your paradigm is the way that you see the world. And oftentimes, and so however I see the world, that's kind of the map that I set up to follow for my life. And so, because behind that paradigm, my principles are developed, my values are developed, how I see myself is developed, how I see myself based on what I perceive through the world. So we live our lives in these paradigms. We don't even know that we've created paradigms. And sometimes we created paradigms where we have just enough space inside a box. Some of us live in paradigms and we don't even know that we've created a comfort zone that we function in 365 days a year, and we've told ourselves, that's what my world is. My world is just this. My family, go to work, do this, do this, do this. and you don't even know that. And then and your perception of the way you see things then forms your habits, the way you do things, the way you think about things, the way you feel about things emotionally. That paradigm is very powerful. So that paradigm, I said to you, it's the way that you see things. It's your perception of the world. And your perception of the world can also be based on your experiences, your circumstances, and the situations that have occurred in your life. So you can have an encounter with women or with men, and you can say, you know what? I hear women say all the time, I just don't do women because women are this and women are that. And you're making a statement and you're forming your paradigm, this perception based on 5 women. 2 of them are at your job. 1 of them lives on your block. 1 of them is in your, go to your church, and 1 of them is in your family. And you created a perception of all the women in the world based on 5 women in your life, right? Of 5 women in your life, you've created this perception. And so you've created this paradigm. Your perception of women is based on 5 women in your church, or 5 women in your life, 5 women on your job, 5 women that you had as friends who did you wrong. And now you're telling yourself, I just don't do women because women are messy. You haven't even met the other millions of women in the world. So I've formed a paradigm, shaped a paradigm, and I start to live, and then I create my habits in my life around the perception, the paradigm that I have created. So my habit now says, based on what I perceived of women, building this paradigm, I don't have friends. I have 2 friends that have been my friends all of my life, and I don't open myself up to because women are. Some of us do it with men. No, all men are dogs. All men are dogs. That's your perception of your experiences, right? You formed a paradigm because you perceive through your experiences, your situation, and your circumstances that men do you wrong, that men cheat, or whatever a man or woman did to you. You now perceive that because of those experiences, that's what men are. So I'm good all by myself. I don't need a man. I don't need to be married. I don't need to be. And it's only because of your own perception. And you haven't met all men. You haven't met all women. You haven't met all people to come to that. But we come to that conclusion, and we create this roadmap. We create this paradigm. And sometimes my paradigm, listen to me, is putting me in a box. And as a result of all the things that God says we are, of all the things that he says we can do, of all the things that he has promised us, of all the possibilities that are before us, of all the things that all the doors that could possibly be opened, they're not being opened because you live in a paradigm of limitation. You live in a paradigm of disbelief or unbelief. You live in a paradigm of lack of faith. You live in this paradigm of disappointment. You live in a paradigm of anger. Well, this is what society is doing to us, and this is what you live in, a paradigm based on you watching the news and taking in all this negative information. You ever notice that all the news is negative? Everything they put on the news is negative, and then they give you 30 seconds of something good. We're saving the dogs today. But we sit and we watch hours and hours and hours of negativity, and then we build this perception and we create this paradigm that what they said on the news about me is the truth. And so we tend to live in these paradigms, and we live in paradigms of fear. We live in paradigms of disappointment. We live in paradigms of lack of faith. We live in paradigms of lack of power. We live in paradigms of frustration. We live in paradigms of lack. Listen to me, because we've even convinced ourselves to say, this is all the money I'm going to get. I just live paycheck to paycheck. That's a paradigm that you created. Because what you do when you live in these negative paradigms is, see, paradigms have power whether you acknowledge them or not. And oftentimes we're living in them. And I said earlier, we don't even know that we're living in them. We don't even know that we actually exist. We're just in this 4 square mile paradigm, and it keeps us in this square, in this box. And we start to believe that's what the world is. And then what I want to do is, because I'm a believer of God, I want to invite God into my paradigm. So when you bring him into your paradigm, your thoughts don't become his thoughts. You want his thoughts to become your thoughts. And then as a result, you say you have God here, but you keep getting the same results. So no message that you hear, no book that you read, no testimony that you heard, no positive story, no information that is good can come in, because you've convinced yourself that what you perceive from the world is what life is, and I do have God. So this is my understanding of who God is. You can't invite the God of the universe into your life and your life not change. If he has come into your life and your life is not different, I'm going to put $100 on it and say it is not God. I'm just going to say that. And I'm just going to say that my paradigm of lack of faith, my paradigm of unbelief tells me when I don't have what God says I should have, it's because he hasn't given it to me yet, and I'm waiting on him. That's a paradigm of disbelief. Come on here. That's a paradigm. We have paradigms of excuses. Some of us make excuses. Well, I'm not blessed yet because God hasn't done it. You are blessed just because he created you. And when you read who he says you are based on how he created you, you already have everything that you need. So you're not waiting for him. You've created, according to the standard of the world, a mindset that blocks out everything good that you're supposed to have. You've created a mindset that says, I'm supposed to live at lack. I'm supposed to live limitless. I'm not supposed to get the job. And the Bible says this: nothing is impossible with God if we believe him. So where does the lack come from? Your perception. And so my perception, I told you a few weeks ago, my perception comes from what you smell, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch. Perception is how the information comes into you. So whatever it is that you entertain is what your thought process, is what your emotional state, is what your feelings, is what your thinking, is what your habits will become. So again, I ask you, what is it that you feed yourself that keeps you thinking the way you're thinking and not shifting the paradigm? Come on here. To do something greater, to think better, to think higher, to think greater, to get more from life. Why do I lack emotionally? Why am I going through the woe is me? Why am I going through the victim? I am always the victim. Some people do that. They want to keep telling you the story over and over and over again because they need attention. They want you to feel sorry for them. And they created this paradigm that this is all the world is going to give me is sadness. This is all the world is going to give me is grief. That's just a perception. That's just not the way life is. Listen, reality will rob you. I tell you this all the time. Reality will rob you of possibility. And if you don't shift the paradigm, if you don't shift your perception, if you don't shift the way you see life, it's not going to change. You'll continue to walk through life with just enough. See, it's not that he favors more people than other people. Some people have shifted the paradigm and they're going after every promise that they can get. And some of us are waiting for the promise to come to us within that 4 square miles. I'm waiting for the Lord to bless me right here, but I'm not willing to step out of this to get what he has for me. And as a result, you don't get anything. And some of us are saying, Lord, when? Some of us are saying, God, when? God, why? How come it hasn't happened for me? Why am I still struggling? Why is it that I meet somebody and then it falls apart? Because you're doing everything in your own paradigm. Listen, the paradigm shift is an aha moment, a light bulb moment comes on. And listen to this, the worse you are in your reality, the worse you are in your thinking, the worse you are in your emotional state, the worse you are in the negative things, the worse you are in your perception, your circumstances, and your situations, the greater your aha moment will be. The greater the revelation is. Listen to me. The worse off that you think you are, the greater that moment of revelation is going to be to you. It'll be powerful when you understand it. I need to change what I perceive. I need to change what I take into me. Who are you talking to? Who are you in conversation with on a regular basis? And these people are talking the wrong conversation. They let you be negative. They listen to your negativity. They allow you to be negative. Who are those people around you? I told you, be mindful. I was sharing with my mentor group on Saturday. I'm mindful. I'm very mindful of who I allow to feed me. And I said to them, you ever go to the potluck at work? Everybody brings a dish and you go into the potluck knowing whose food you're not going to eat. You know that. You know, you got everybody at work, everybody, all this food, and you seen so-and-so scratching and picking and rubbing and, you know, just, and they bring the food. Here comes the potluck. You already know at work whose food you're not going to eat. And when it comes to our well-being, listen to me. When it comes to our well-being, we eat everything. We eat garbage. We eat stuff that is not good for us. I'm not telling you you need to know all the scriptures in the Bible. Some of you might not even read the Bible, but you need to read something to shift your thinking, because you're asking yourself, what's wrong with my life? How long am I going to be here? Why do I keep going through these same things? Nobody has the power to transform and change your life but you. And a lot of the reason your life is the way your life is because of your paradigm, the way you think, based on experiences, based on circumstances, based on situations, based on what you allow other people to tell you who you are, based on what has happened to you years ago. You're still holding on to hurt. You're still holding on to disappointment. You're still angry about situations and circumstances. You know something I learned a long time ago? You can't change people. Listen. You have no power over other people. You only have power over you. So no matter what you do to me, it might sting for a minute, but give me a day or two. Give me 24 hours. If you are not my husband, I'm shaking it. You understand me? If you are not married to me, I am shaking it. It does not last long. And I'm moving on to the next thing. Because the perception, what you take in makes you, it can make you or it can break you. What you allow to come into you can make you or break you. And some of you right now, listen to me, are sitting in situations wounded by the words of people. You are wounded by what people have said to you and what somebody has done to you. And you've created this paradigm of hurt. My perception is people will hurt you. But at some point, if you're going to live in this world, you've got to get past that hurt. And you've got to trust people again. You don't live with aliens. Don't be surprised at what people do. And we don't get surprised at what they do. We get surprised at who did it. I'm going to give myself an applause on that one. We are shocked at who said it. We are shocked that we are dismayed at who said it, at who did it. I can't believe he did. I loved him. He went, and then she went, and then they went. You know why? You give people more credit than you give yourself. Can I tell you the truth? You give people much more credit than you give yourself. You give the words of other people more power over your heart and over your mind than you do yourself. Then you do your own words, then you do your own actions. You give other people more power. Their words are stronger to you than your own words are. I told you, you have to guard your self-talk. And guard means to put an armored person put some power over your words. When it's guarded, it's worth something. You have to guard your self-talk. Be mindful of your limiting belief system. Some of us live by a negative system and we don't even know it. How do I shift that, Natalie? Start eating something different. Start taking in something positive. I would say start with the Word of God. The Word of God tells us we were created in His image and in His likeness. We are the shadows of God, and who better to follow? So if some of you don't believe, I would admonish you, if you really want to follow somebody to walk in some power and to walk in a greatness, I would say follow God. Now you can choose anything else that you want to. I'm not here to force you to follow anybody. I'm telling you, I follow Him because it's the greatest thing in my life that I have experienced, and He has taught me who I am. And I know who I am because I know whose I am. And His characteristics are greater than any man that I have ever seen. And so if you're feeling like you're in a slump, listen to me. Shift your paradigm. Change the way you think. Change your mindset. And it starts this simple. Just write down what your negative thoughts are that you think right now. And then write down the opposite of each one of those thoughts. If you write down 5 negative things, the way that you think, how you think about you, what you tell yourself on a daily basis. Some of us tell ourselves on a daily basis, ooh, I'm so tired. Ooh, girl, I'm so tired. Ooh, I'm so tired. And we say that 50 times a day. Some of us are so tired mentally, we get out of bed in the morning tired. Because you convinced yourself that you're already tired and the day is just getting started. Here you are with a new day, a fresh opportunity, a new mercy, more grace, a healthy body, the ability to walk and talk, and you waking up tired. You got out of bed tired and you convinced yourself. So somebody might be writing down, I'm always telling myself I'm tired. You know what? I'm always telling myself you can't do it. I'm always telling myself I'm fat. I'm always telling myself I'm just going to be broke. I'm always telling myself I'm hurt. And now what you're going to do after you write those 5 things down, write down 5 things that are opposite of those. And start, when you want to say the negative, look at the 5 positive things. As simple as that. And now what you're doing is your perception, you're shifting the paradigm. Come on here, and it doesn't have to be a big shift. Shift it just this much. It doesn't have to be a big shift. Listen to me. It doesn't have to be a big shift. Just shift it just enough. So when you want to go to the negative, come on here. You shift and you go to the 5 positive things that you wrote down. And you start speaking the 5 positive things. Come on here. You shift the paradigm slightly. So now I'm changing my perception. I'm changing my circumstance. I'm changing my situation just by what I'm taking in. Listen, you're not wounded. You're not broken. That's what you want to perceive because the circumstance and the situation says after this happens to you, the normal response is that you should be so hurt and you should be so broken and you should be so disappointed that you are sad for at least 4 months. And we fall into that rut. I shared yesterday, when circumstances and situations happen, strength is not the first thing we reach for. We reach for disappointment. We reach for hurt. We reach for failure. We reach for woe is me. We reach for, I can't believe they did that to me. I can't believe they said that to me. Shift the paradigm. This time, you know what? Reach for, I'm just going to ignore that. Reach for, that didn't bother me because my words to me are greater than that. You know what? Reach for, I don't need you to love me because I love me. Reach for, I'm not disappointed in your actions. Those were your actions. I'm not disappointed in your actions. I have my own actions. Reach for something positive as opposed to going back to this old paradigm and reaching for something negative. Shell, can somebody bring my computer cord? Reach for something different. Because we know what the circumstances are and we know what the situations are. They're common to everybody, and everybody has gone through a heartbreak. Everybody has gone through a disappointment. But when do we do something different and change the narrative? Yeah, this is going to happen to me, but this won't be my response again. Yeah, this will happen to me, but guess what? I'm not going to respond to it like that anymore. Yeah, that's a natural part of life. People are going to trip out on you. People are going to flip out. We are human, and we're going to do that to each other. Everybody has a bad day. But you know what? I'm shifting my paradigm, so I'm doing something different. I'm responding differently, and I'm thinking differently. Because my paradigm builds what my habits will be. Whatever I perceive of the world, listen to me, it determines how I think, and it determines how I feel, and then it determines how I act. So if I shift my paradigm from negative to the positive, I change the way I think. I change the way that I feel, and then I change the way that I act. I change my habits. Some of my habits are bad. I can procrastinate, and I have to tell myself, get up and do it right. Change that. Stop saying that's what you are and start saying this is what you are. So you start walking in what you should be walking in. Because if I could get so much more done if I didn't put things off to the last minute. And guess who I rob of putting things off to the last minute? Only myself. Only myself. I only cheat me when I put off, you know what? I need to go exercise. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it Monday. I only hurt me. I only hurt myself. When I put off taking care of me, I need to go exercise. I just need to get up and I need to just go walk my hour and a half. I'm only hurting myself. Right? Shift the paradigm. The power of the paradigm. It is so powerful. I told you earlier, the paradigm is your roadmap. Where are you going? Where are you going? Now we have, MapQuest, Google Maps, all these types of maps. If you had to map out your life and where you wanted to go, how you getting there? One, you got to determine where am I going? And then you got to determine the process to get there. And then you got to determine what would my mindset be as I follow this map. Because sometimes when you follow the map, it takes you down some around some edges of mountains. It takes you through some valleys. Sometimes it takes you through the desert. Sometimes it takes you through storms. And sometimes we're following the map and we're complaining the whole time. But that's the map. That's the map designed for you, right? The paradigm, my perception and the way that I think, or I can create a map for my life. Listen, and even though it takes me through some rough spots, my mindset says, I'm not complaining about it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not complaining about it. I don't have time to complain about what's on the news and the president and who did what to who, because I want my daughter to be well. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to just be sad about what I saw on the news. I don't have time for that. I want my husband to be healed. I don't have time for that. I want to live my best life with these two people in every moment that I get. So I don't have time to complain about what isn't right in my life, because I need to focus on what is right in my life. Some of us are just my husband says Sunday, going to church, and all we do is go to church. We don't know anything about walking with God. Because you can't walk with a God that created heaven and earth and be mediocre. You can't. Somebody's lying. And I told you, I'm a betting woman when it comes to this. I got 100 on that it's not God. I'm just saying. I'm gonna just say for 100, 100, Alex, it's not God. Come on here. You gotta shift. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Why didn't he say as a man thinks in his mind? Because if I hide it in my heart, come on here, guard your heart, guard your words, guard your self-talk. If I hide it in my heart, right? Because the Bible says out of the heart flows the issues of life. You will do what is in you. I don't care how much scripture you believe. If it is not in you and it's in your mind, because your mind changes too often. If you haven't put it in your heart to do it, to take it in, perceive it, and change your circumstances with it, You only have it in your mind, and that's why your life stays the same. That's why your finances are still the same. That's why your health is still the same. That's why your children are still the same. That's why your marriage is still the same. Because you put the word in your mind, but now you got to go watch BET, and it takes it out. You put the word in your mind, but oh, my girl called, we got to get on the phone, and it robs you of it. So when you put it in your heart and you put it in the vault and you lock it under lock and key and you start to live what you digested, you shift your paradigm, you change your perception. So no matter what the situations are, no matter what circumstances come into my life, nobody stops me but God. Nobody. We like to call racism, and racism exists. But let me ask you a simple question, especially to my Christian believers. How do you believe God? How do you believe God and let what people say deny you? Nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you. No, because we can quote all the cliches. What he has for me is for me. I just want it to be easy. I don't want to shift. I don't want to do any work in me. I don't want to do any work in me to get what he has for me. In order to get what he has for you, it has to be done in you. And then he wants to do it through you. You got to shift your paradigm. The paradigm is powerful. And the way you shift that paradigm is you got to change what you perceive. You got to change your intake. The doctor says that to you. If you diabetic, you pre-diabetic, you need to change your diet. You got this with your heart, your blood pressure, you need to change your diet. One of the first things they tell us, if you want to get better, you need to change what you take in. You need to change your perception in order to shift your paradigm. If you want greater results from your life, you got to change what your diet is to shift the way that you think. You're not waiting for God to bless you. You're not waiting for the job to give you more money. You're not waiting for somebody to come and apologize to you. You're waiting on you to change. Because it's easy for all the outside entities to come into your life. But if you don't change your paradigm from what it is and shift it, everything new that comes in eventually becomes old. Listen to me. Everything new that comes into your old way of thinking eventually becomes a part of your old way of thinking. And that's why some people don't get anything new. That's why you can't get more money. That's why you don't get better relationships, because who you are has not changed. Who you are, not what you are, not status, not what you drive, not how you look. Who you are on the inside has not changed. So you keep getting the same people. You keep getting the same results. You keep starting a workout program and stopping it. Because my paradigm hasn't shifted. My perception hasn't changed. I told you before, why is it that some people have circumstances and situations and these people have circumstances and situations? And these people over here are negative about theirs, but these people over here are celebrating it. These people over here going through the same exact things. And I witnessed that being on the floor at Children's Hospital. We all have children here with cancer and tumors and maybe it might be losing their lives. But I refuse to accept the grief of that. I refuse to be overwhelmed by woe is me. My baby is so sick, but because I could think better when my mind was clear. Even though my heart ached, I needed to keep my heart clear of grief, and disappointment and frustration comes in. And so I found myself, the way that it was better for me to avoid that was to encourage the people on the other side. What kept me at peace in my situation with my daughter was to encourage the people over here. I'm not going to be a victim to it. My daughter's mindset was, Mom, I'm not a victim to this. I got one more tomorrow. I have one more tomorrow. I have one more tomorrow. That's what she told me. You should go home and go to bed because I have one more tomorrow. And so I found myself encouraging people rather than becoming a victim to a bad situation. Situations are going to come. Situations and circumstances are going to come, but you are not your situations and circumstances. Can I tell you that? You are not the situation and circumstances. They happen to everybody. And some people can just jump over them by leaps and bounds because they choose to. And some people lay down and they play dead. And they just let it overtake them because somebody said that's the natural response. That's not the natural response for everybody. I'm just sorry to say. And it's not that I don't sympathize. It's not that I don't empathize with you. But that's not the natural response to everybody. And it's a learned behavior to not give into it. You got to keep shifting the paradigm. You got to keep taking in some things that feed that disappointment into positivity, to feed that grief, even grief, into something good. I love you and I miss you and my heart is broken, but grief will come over you like a cloak. And that's not even what God intended for us. Even in grief, it's not what he had intended for us. And we justify it and we say that's what the natural response is supposed to be. And it's not. You just built that paradigm in a box, and you've just chosen to accept that this is what life is and this is how it's going to be. And this is all that it can give me. The power of your paradigm will be what you feed it. So if life is a mess, that's because you eat junk food. You watch everything on TV, you watch all the shows and all the stuff. And if you can't watch the shows without taking the stuff in, don't watch it. If you can't watch it without taking on the mentality, if you can't watch it without feeling, and you can't watch the news without taking on the anger and the hostility, and that's all you talk about, don't watch it. And my thinking is, if you can sit for hours and watch all of the garbage on TV, why can't you read something for hours, something positive for hours? Why can't you read something that will feed you for hours and build you and encourage you and make you whole and restore you and replenish you and renew you and change your thinking? Why can't you give hours to that like we binge watch TV? Why don't you get a series of books that you'll read like you'll binge watch what you watch on Netflix? You know how you're going to take a Saturday and you're just going to binge watch that Netflix show? I get you, because I love Breaking Bad. But I watched it. If I watched it on the treadmill. I did. And when I wasn't on the treadmill, I didn't just sit and watch it because that was on the treadmill. You got to connect it to something that's going to benefit you. It's entertainment. But some of us become we start thinking what entertainment is, and we start taking that in. Even the news is entertainment. If you cannot watch it and not allow it to affect you, don't watch it. 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 It's just like the same thing. Don't eat that. Got high blood pressure. Got high blood pressure. Can't eat salt. You know that. Yeah, got high blood, can't eat salt, make my ankle swell. You know that. It's the same thing up here. Same thing with my mind. Same thing with my heart. Same thing with my soul. I'm mindful of who I let into my soul. I'm mindful of who I let into my life. I'm mindful of who feeds me. I don't eat all the food at the potluck. You don't go to work and at the potluck, the Christmas potluck, you don't eat everybody's food. You know you don't. You always see Henry scratching, and Henry made the spaghetti. You don't go and go get a big, Henry made the spaghetti. I know he scratches, nails always dirty. Ooh. You know you're not going to eat Henry spaghetti. Same thing in life. Same thing in life. Be mindful of who feeds you. They can appear to be very spiritual, but find out how they live. They can sound good, but find out how they live. Find out if their life is in order. You can't tell me how to be married, and you've been married 5 years. I've been married 32 years. You can't tell me about marriage. Now, you can talk to people 5 years and under, but you can't get to 36 and then call me. And I tell this to people, it's great that you're doing marriage ministry, but go to people that have been years yours and under you. But you can't tell me after 32 years. I've seen all of it. I want somebody that's been married twice, 60 years, 50 years, 40 years. Then you can come tell me some stuff. What do I do at year 42? Because I don't know. You can't tell me how to raise children and you, because you studied it, and the psychological thought of how teenagers act and function and breathe, and their nostrils flare when they're angry, and then you have to listen to them, you have to be careful you can't tell me how to raise children and you don't have any. Can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. I think I shared this with you guys. I was teaching a Bible study with my kids. I mean, yeah, I was over the youth department years ago, and my children were young. And so been teaching this Bible study, you know, on fire. But then my sons become teenagers, and I get this powerful lesson together, and I'm teaching this lesson. This lesson is good. The woman with the issue of blood touched him, his garment. She didn't know who she touched. I'm going in. So on the way home, I say to my kids, how was the lesson, to my sons? And they were quiet because they're trying to be respectable. I said, what? How was the lesson? I said, y'all being quiet. That lesson was powerful. And they said, Mom, it was a good lesson, but wait for the but. It was a good lesson, but you taught it like a mom. You didn't teach it like our Bible teacher. You taught it like a mom telling us what to do. Boy, is what I wanted to say. But the Spirit of God quickened me and said, you did. You taught it like you were teaching adults. You taught it like you were their mother, because you're their mother. You weren't teaching teenagers 5 years ago that were yours. You didn't have teenagers, so you didn't know how to teach teenagers. So here now you're teenagers, and guess what? I gave the ministry to somebody else because I wasn't effective as a Bible teacher with my teenagers. So if you can't tell me, if you haven't gotten there with them, because you can read it in a book and you can experience it and you can have a lot of conversations with them. But if you haven't raised them yet, it's different. Get there, then come back and tell me. Get there, then come back and tell me. Some of us are living our lives on perception based on what TV is, and that's not your reality. Some of us are following and some of us are listening, and that's their reality. That's not yours. And as a result, you are listening to everybody else's perception, everybody else's view that's not yours, that does not work for your life. And they can sound spiritual and they can be all of this, but if they haven't experienced what you've experienced, come on here. That's why you have to create your own paradigm. Get in the word for yourself if it's the Bible that you read, and find out for yourself. Because your perception, even if all of us hear the same thing, we're going to all perceive it based on our circumstances and situations, and we get different results. And some of us are trying to live the results of what we see on TV, what other people, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. Social media has made us favorable with people because they don't get to see how you really live. Social media has made us so popular with people because all you have to do is put up a picture, put up something showing you having fun. But they don't get to see your work ethic. They don't get to see your discipline. They don't get to see your bank account. They don't get to see your credit. They don't get to see your lifestyle. They don't get to see if your house is clean. They don't get to see your integrity. They don't get to see your purpose. They don't get to see your reason. Social media, most of us, we only share the great stuff. And guess what? Life isn't like that every day. So I build my perception of life based on what I see, what you give me. I build my perception of life, my paradigm of life based on what TV gives me. You don't see what else is before what they put on TV. You don't see it. Here we are creating ourselves based on what somebody else said, the perception of other people. So we go get long hair because everybody's wearing long hair. Everybody's doing it. So we all go buy it. It's what I perceive. That's what's in. So I'm going to do it because that's what's in. I love my husband because my husband is his own man. He don't care what the style is. He got his own. God, Lord, help me. But whatever his style is his style. But he is his own man inside out. And he is governed by God's word. And he moves in his own standard. But the man gets big results. The man is strong on delivery of life. The man is consistent and he is powerful. Stop laughing, Denise. The man is consistent. He is focused and he is powerful. He's not going left because everybody's going left. And I'll tell you this, if everybody's going left, Rafer Owens is going right. He is a pastor. He don't have no pastor friends. Because I don't do pastor talk with churches. I don't know what pastor conversation is. He is his own man. Never under the perception of what people think he should be because he is a pastor or a police officer. You might get anything from that man because he's his own person. And God says, I created you in my image and in my likeness to be you. And who you are is enough. Stop conforming to what you see. How many times have you gone out and bought something because you saw somebody else wearing it or looking like that or doing that, and it don't even look the same on you? Change your perception. Shift your paradigm. Your paradigm forms your habits. Some of us have some bad habits. Shift your paradigm. Change your habits. When you change your mindset, you'll change your habits. When your habits change, you'll change your actions. When your actions change, you'll change your life. Shift your paradigm. Be mindful of what you take in. Come on here. Your paradigm forms your habits. When you change the way you think, you'll change your habits. When you change your habits, you change your actions. And when my actions change, my whole life will be different. Everything about me will change. Come on here. Because I changed my intake. I changed the way that I eat. You ever see that person that's 380 pounds? They had to change their diet. Then you see them 2 years later and they are half of what they used to be because they changed their intake and they started to exercise. Oh, listen to me, somebody. Shift your paradigm. Change what you take in and start exercising what you believe. You hear me? Shift to get the results. Some of us need to lose 250 pounds of garbage, of junk, of disappointment, of hurt, of frustration, of anger, of lack of discipline, of lack of faith, of unbelief, of grief, of pain. Some of us need to lose those pounds. But in order to lose those pounds, you got to change your diet and you got to exercise what you believe. If it works in the physical, listen to me. It surely works over here in the spiritual and the emotional realm and the mental realm. It works. If they were 345 pounds over here and they changed their diet and then they exercised and they lost it, why don't we shift our paradigm, change our diet, come on here, and start exercising what we believe to get a different me? And people are going to start saying, man, ooh, you look different. You sound different. You act different. It's something about you. Oh, you don't hang out with them no more. Mm-mm. Oh, you don't go over there. No. Mm-mm. No, I just, mm-mm. Oh, no, girl, I finally started my business. I finally stepped out and did my business. Finally doing what I'm supposed to do. Finally running and finally got this together. Finally changed the way that I do this. And you have the power to transform your whole life. For all my people that's sitting back talking about you waiting on the Lord, quit. Stop it. Listen, this is the Reverend talking to you. You're not waiting on the Lord. You're not waiting on the Lord. It's a Bible, it's a book full of to-do stuff. When you've done all the stuff in there to do, then wait on it. But if you haven't done most of what's in there to already do or receive most of what's already promised, you're not waiting for him. I promise you, he's waiting for you. He's waiting for you to do some of the book. You're not waiting for him. And I tell people all the time, even mentorship, I told them Saturday, I'm not going to let you tell me you're waiting on the Lord to accomplish your goals. We're not waiting. He already gave you the power to go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Don't let anybody tell you, wait on the Lord. No, don't, Mm-mm. Because there's a time to wait. I'm going to teach that one day. There is a time to wait. There is a time to wait. There is a time to wait. And the Bible says that wait on the Lord and be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. There is a time to wait. But some of us our waiting has become our excuse, and that can be no more. Your waiting has become your excuse, and that can be no more. You're not waiting for the Lord to tell you why you need to be healthy. You're not waiting for the Lord to bless your finances. You are the blessing to your finances. Because if you really believe he's going to bless your finances, don't go to work for the next 12 days. And just stay at home and let the Lord bless your finances. If you think he's just going to send it, just don't go to work. Just quit your job tomorrow and put your gospel music on and just sit around the house and praise the Lord. And I'm waiting. The Lord's going to bless me with my finances for the house note and insurance and medical, and just wait on the Lord. Some of us are always waiting, and waiting has become our excuse. The power of the paradigm. You can build the paradigm, and if the paradigm isn't working for you, you can shift the paradigm. And the paradigm shift is that aha moment, that light bulb moment, which means I've had an interaction that has caused my thinking to change for the better. It's caused my thinking to shift, and the roadmap that I created for my life is no longer valuable. And so I need to make it better. I need to shift, and you can